Lightworkers, the full moon in Sagittarius, the lunar eclipse happens tomorrow, June 5th, 2020. It is yet another very important moon, another very important lunar event, and we're going to be here to break it all down for you. So here we go. Welcome back. You know, usually I'm here and we're full of excitement and wonder for the full moon, for any lunar event, really, because, you know, oh my gosh, that's my ruling planet. I'm a Cancer. So the moon, rules my sign. I'm a moon child, if you will. But it's been very heavy, guys. I would be remiss and telling you a ton of stories if I was just sitting here saying, oh, it's all just beautiful, it's all just wonderful, and I've not myself been somewhat affected, very much affected by the energies as they are right now. So I'm not going to sit here and, as they say, blow smoke. I'm not also going to sit here and just say there's absolutely nothing we can do and all is lost. Yes, it's heavy, but I think we need to understand what's going on and then take it to ourselves as we take it to everywhere else. So let's look at the chart. Here's the chart for tomorrow. That's pretty gosh darn simple, isn't it? We have gosh, guys. This energy is volatile. This energy is transformative. This energy is revolutionary. This energy is challenging. This energy is one for the ages. As we begin to have a series of events in the heavens that signify and release energy, that release wisdom, that release power, that release greatness, great light, and great dark. We can't have a great awakening, right, without a great darkening as well at the same time. There has to be balance. Now, what are we to do during this full moon? Well, let's take a peek at where we are. And I'm going to put this let's put it in green, even though there's a whole lot of red. It's pretty easy to understand what's happening here. We have the moon in Sagittarius. It's going to be looks to be about 15 degrees Sag. The sun, and it's opposing the sun at 15 degrees, but I'm going to include Venus retrograde, 15 degrees Gemini. And then we have both of these lunar entities, one lunar, one solar, both opposing directly, I shouldn't say opposing, I'm sorry, both squaring directly squaring Mars. Direct hit. And then the separating Neptune and both in Pisces. So let's take this for what it is. We have Venus in retrograde, moving on back, right? This way. Moving on back this way. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Venus retrograde, moving back, do the moonwalk, so to speak, in Gemini, going back in that third house energy, going back and saying internally, how are you viewing yourselves? How are you viewing your relationships? How are you reviewing and looking at and validating and valuing your relationships with self, relationships with others, relationships with spirit? This lunar eclipse feels very much like shining the light, even though there is no light in the lunar eclipse. Understand that it's the earth is coming in between the sun and the moon, so we don't see a true reflection, right? We've got a lunar eclipse. So even though it's a full moon by degree, in the southern hemisphere, they won't see the moon. It's a lunar eclipse, almost like a new moon, except with full moon energy. What are you going to release from how you've been raised and told who you are? This is why the very essence of who we are as an entity, as a third dimensional entity, is being called into question. This energy is such that it is forcing us to reevaluate all of that, right? It's forcing us to reevaluate all of that. It's forcing us to take another peek. It's forcing us to look at it introspectively. It's forcing us to say, Mars squaring the sun, squaring the moon at the same time along a Gemini-Sagittarius axis. Your dreams, your aspirations, the illusion of who you thought you were, the illusion of who you thought the world was, the illusion of how you thought the world should act, the illusion being pulled back, and the disillusion of how the world has been. The realization that things are not as they have seemed. The realization that what we have put our value in, what we have aspired to, who we have aspired to assist in all of this, who we have aspired to validate our existence, looking outward instead of Gemini, internal, personal planet, personal house, right? Instead of internalizing it and then taking it back outward. Expect to feel some type of way. Expect that it makes perfect sense why the world is going through what the world is going through right now. It makes perfect sense that there are these factions and these clans and these groups that are separating. Some are coming together, but then it's like the general oligarchy, the general, everyone that's in power wants us to not see that. They want to keep separating us, right? We've got Saturn in retrograde. We've got Jupiter in retrograde and Pluto in retrograde. Going back in Capricorn, ruling foundational structures that have governed us, have governed our existence, have governed our thought patterns, have governed our earthly existence, how we interact with it. And now we're having to look at what we perhaps planned on how we were going to expand and how we were going to break out and how we're going to red pill our way out. Maybe we got to review it again. Maybe we got to double check it. And guess what? Now it's like, oh no, you can't. Oh no, you can't. Oh no, you can't. Look, there are all these institutional issues that are going on. It's true. I'm not sitting here denying that it's true. But this here, now Saturn, I'm lumping Saturn in there because it's going back towards Capricorn. It's not directly trining. It's heading in that direction. Specifically though, we have this, right? We have Jupiter and Pluto that are most definitely trining Uranus in Taurus. Again, personal, evolution, revolution, restructure, review, look at what is happening, look at what you valued as Venus kind of begins to come back. It'll continue to go in retrograde for a little bit longer. But at this full moon, this is a review, a release, a restructure of the relationships. A review, a release, and restructure of what we value. And it has to happen. Some of us are going to get extremely tired. Someone said this to me today, and I so appreciate it. Some of us are going to get tired of shining. Some of us are going to get tired of uplifting. Some of us are like, oh my gosh, I'm over it. And we need to take the time for ourselves, because remember, Pluto is personal transformation. Uranus is global. Pluto is personal transformation. This is occurring in a personal house, right? The lunar eclipse itself is in a public house, but it's actually, instead of shining a light on how we are publicly, because the light truly isn't being reflected, it theoretically, but it really isn't being reflected. Instead of looking out and saying, oh, now it's saying you have got to honestly take stock. You have got to take stock of yourself. It's not that your dreams cannot come true, but it is that Prince Charming is not coming on a white horse, okay? They're not coming to save you. Understand this. They're not coming to save you. But this isn't a time to be in despair. This is a time to understand, if you wish to change the institution changes within you first, because you've allowed the institution to take hold in your reality, in your existence, in your third dimensional realities. Before the institution can change, there has to be change within. You understand this on a personal level. Before you can change your world, you have to change your inner world, right? As it is within, so it is without. As it is above, so it is below. You're your own personal, right, universe. Thank you to Dolo the Pilot Man for saying that on a regular basis. Your own personal universe. You are everything and everything. I understand this from science. An atom itself is its own world within in an atomic, subatomic level. It's its own world within the grand world. As it is within, and all these atoms come together to make matter. The institution cannot change until you change. And when you change, then you can go and be a part of the institution and change the institution from the inside out, not from the outside in. True change does not happen from the outside in, but from the inside out. Restructure your energy, yourself, and then we restructure the world energy. This energy in this full moon, what you're seeing right here, is calling you and challenging you and forcing you to go back within. There's been some confusion. I mean, look, this is quincunxing, right? This is a quincunx, which means a tad bit of confusion. This is quincunxing all of this, questioning it. But the beauty of it is sextiling your dreams, your aspirations. It's saying, guess what? What you are now seeing, what you are now sensing, it was never the way you originally sensed it. It was never the way you originally thought about it. And your eyes are being open to something new. Grab it. Investigate it. Go into it. Get down into those dreams and intuitions and visions and understandings. Get into it. Because the deeper you go in it and aggressively go in it, the more light is going to be, the more you're challenged on a personal level about what your ideals should truly be. And the more personalized now this becomes, so that your intellect, your mindset, your speech changes. I've seen some people on YouTube and on Instagram. I think it was Spells Gabriel said this. Gabrielle. She said this so eloquently that we have to, even as we're protesting peacefully, not looting, protesting. You have to watch what you're saying. Stop speaking, the world is against me. Or stop speaking, I can't breathe. Stop speaking, no justice, no peace. Stop speaking all of this. Why? Because the more you say it, the stronger the spell gets. We understand there's no justice. We understand that means we're not at peace. But guess what? What is justice really? It's a balancing of the scales. We got to balance on the inside before we can expect any balance on the outside. We have to take the accountability to change we have the ability to change the account. We have the ability to change our response. What is your internal response to the external forces? Are you going to continue to give your power away? This lunar eclipse is asking you even more so than ever to take your power back on a foundational Pluto and Jupiter in retrograde in Capricorn, on a foundational level. On a foundational level. Your foundation. Nobody else's. Your foundation. How do you interact with the global foundation? How does your foundation, how does your root chakra, how does that, here we go, Uranus down here, in Taurus, change your roots. Change your roots. Change how you look at yourself. Change how you speak over yourself. Change. Your daily routines will no longer work in this new world. Transformation and change. As we increase the light from within, then the light without. This is a long haul, guys. We have the North and South nodes that have moved into Gemini and Sagittarius 18 months, probably down to 17 now. This lunar eclipse, look at who you are. Look at, are you still believing the hype? Are you still believing what they're saying about who you are? Are you still believing and buying into the garbage that's external? Or are you prepared to take the ability back to change the account, to take your ability back to change your response, even though it's challenging and even though it's tough, and alter your view to a more truthful one, seeing the truth, seeing behind the curtain, Neptune and Pisces, and not believing everything that is put out before you, yet instead investigating it and making sure it rings true within. Because this is the moment where you've got to decide, are you just buying into what is being put into your ears and trying to be put into your eyes, what you're trying to be programmed, or are you going to rise above to the next dimensional understanding and see behind the curtain? With this lunar eclipse, there is no spoon. With this lunar eclipse, there is no reflection. It is now time to look within. It is now time to raise up. If you're releasing, if you're doing rituals or anything like that for the full moon, this is what I would recommend. I would very much recommend making sure you have blessed water, moon charged water, however you do it, crystal charged water. Bless yourself, bless your mind, your third dimensional mind. Really take the time to allow your higher self to speak to you as to who are good relationships and who are in your life that are feeding you and nurturing you and not trying to get over on you or not hiding something from you, but being true, and whom are not. Let those ones that are not go. If it's not feeding you, it's time to let it go. Look at yourself. How do you really deep down view yourself? Are you ready to make that change? Are you ready to do your healing? Are you ready to let go of the limiting beliefs? Are you ready to let go of the childhood lies and fairy tales and nightmares? and ugly spells, if you will, and horrible curses. Are you ready to let those go as well? Are you ready to truly make a change with that man, that woman, that divine being in the mirror? Because the universe is helping you and it's challenging you right now. Release limiting beliefs, release limiting entities, release limiting thoughts, release limitations, and live without limitations. Because we have to be free to let our light shine so that we can continue to balance the darkness. Thanks, guys, for being here. I so appreciate it. Listen, go to heartofinspiration.net. You'll be able to get a free membership into Lightworker Academy there. And where I'll be putting up more of this content. We're building up our content base now. Please consider liking, subscribing, and please consider sharing this video. I so very much appreciate it. Thank you, and thank you. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you're releasing. And we will see you at the full moon for some meditations and rituals. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love each and every one of you. Namaste. Bye.